So this past weekend was the WWE Royal Rumble, and controversy is probably the word I'd put behind it, as I have seen many people just bitching and moaning about it. But honestly, I thought it was a great show. I really enjoyed the whole thing. I enjoyed the two singles matches. I very much enjoyed both Royal Rumble matches, and we will get through to going through the whole thing. I also want to say I am recovering from a cold and recovering from doing a lot of shouting during the Royal Rumble matches, so I probably sound a bit rough. I probably look a bit rough. Rougher than usual. But yeah, no, do stick with me. I said if I do sound a bit off at times, it's just because I'm not very well, I assume. But yeah, so let's get into the Royal Rumble matches. And also, if you see me looking down throughout the videos, because I'm looking at my notes, because there was a lot for both of these Royal Rumbles. So starting off with the Women's Royal Rumble match, and yeah, Liv Morgan got the win, and we will get through to that, but we started off with number 1 and number 2, which was Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Don't worry, I will refer to Bliss by her last name, so I don't set off your Amazon devices. But yeah, this made a lot of sense. My brother predicted Charlotte as number 1, lucky guy. The whole reason that this is a different background to this is because I will be recording a podcast with him later, and yeah, Michael PC's downstairs for that, so... yeah, well, fair play to him. He predicted Charlotte Flair as number 1. But Alexa Bliss made a lot of sense in this situation. The whole friends of convenience thing is... it puts that to the test, but they worked together for the most part, especially for the... they worked together the whole time. They didn't really betray each other like people maybe assumed they were going to. And yeah, this made a lot of sense to start off. We did do the joking, maybe I'll eliminate you, or maybe I'm going to do the finisher to you. Maybe I'll do a finisher to you. They did that whole thing for the first, what was supposed to be 2 minutes. There was no way for both Rumbles that there was 2 minutes between each entrant. There was absolutely no way. There was more like a minute, if that, but... still, there's always stuff like the times between entrants has never really been the exact time for any matches they do that kind of thing for. Kiana James came in at number 3, and she had a great showing. I thought she cooked when she first came in, taking on Flair and Bliss at the same time. And then, yeah, she stayed in for quite a while and said she had one of the standout performances of the Women's Royal Rumble. I was happy with Nia coming in early because her chances of winning absolutely plummeted coming in from that early, because we know that Nia is not a wrestler who wrestles for a long time, so we knew that was going to be the case. We saw a hip attack from the entrant number 6, which was Lola Vice. There was times throughout the women's match and the men's match where Booker T really should be coming up to the main roster with all the NXT people, because I missed him. I missed him doing the ad-libs for Trick Williams, for Jacy Jane, for Lola Vice. Yeah, I really feel like if Booker T came up to the main roster commentary, people would not complain at all, and it wouldn't be as bad as it was the first time. I expected a better performance from Jordan Grace. I know she got a fair few eliminations in, but I expected a overall better performance just because she is feuding with Jade at the minute. She's going to be the next woman to challenge her for the Women's Championship. I thought she would have a showing here which would then suffice that title shot, but that simply was not the case. It was a shame that Lola Vice got eliminated first. Candice LeRae also got eliminated at the same time, but down as the first elimination is Lola Vice, which is a bit of a shame, but maybe that's just personal preference taking over. They had a good storyline with Flair eliminating Nia Jax, but unintentionally eliminating Bliss in the process of that, and I think that's something they could probably play off, but not too much to a point where they split up. Flair and Becky Lynch interaction in 2026 is not something that I really wanted. I did kind of laugh to myself when Charlotte Flair was stood in the ring by herself. Well, not by herself, but she was the only one standing in the ring, and then Lynch came out. We've seen enough of Flair and Lynch for a lifetime supply of we don't need those two to go again. Natty came in. The theme is awesome. I really like the theme. I can't wait for them to release that if it's not already a song that's out already. For example, Stephanie Vaquer's theme, I kept waiting and turns out it's an actual song. So I look like a bit of a knob there. But yeah, I really like a new theme. Eliminating Lynch is questionable, because the thing with eliminations is they tend to lead to a match at WrestleMania, and I really don't want Lynch versus Natalya or Natty at WrestleMania if we can avoid it. I'll get that they'll probably do a match on Raw, but yeah, I'm just worried about Natty with and I understand they want to get this new character over, and it makes a lot of sense. This character is a lot better than just Natalya being Natalya, but I don't want it to go too far. I feel like just Raw feuds will be absolutely fine. Maybe they do a triple threat where it's Maxine, Lynch, and Natty on Raw, maybe at a push at Elimination Chamber, but I want Becky to have a bigger opponent for the IC Championship at WrestleMania, maybe one that lights it up a little bit. Last Legend had a absolutely fantastic showing. She had some big eliminations, eliminating both Bella Twins, Io Sky, Jordan Grace, and Charlotte Flair. So, yeah, definitely the standout. I think her and Kiana were the two big standouts as far as main roster already goes. Obviously, NXT saw Ruka have a very good performance, but we'll get to that. Zelina Vega needs a theme change as her current theme doesn't fit the aesthetic of her current character. The Judgment Day, even, worked very well as a team until they didn't. Lovely backhand from Chelsea Green to Liv Morgan out of nowhere. It was pretty much a slap it around the world kind of moment. Chelsea surfing Alba was really fun, and ironically, while the match was going on, I commented on how it was close to Sol Ruka at the same time that Wade Barrett did, which I didn't realise at the time, but my brother did point out to me during the match. Io really didn't have the performance that I thought she was going to. I thought she'd be a main part of this match, and she kind of blended in very quickly into the match. I know she had a moment with Asuka and Julia, but yeah, it's kind of, I expected her to be one of the people in the forefront of this match because of the star that she's become over this past year, but no, she kind of just faded in and then got eliminated by Lash, and that was about it. It wasn't a massive thing. I know she was a big part of Kairi and Asuka, but the main part of that was Kairi and Asuka, not Io. So yeah, that was a bit weird. Saying Asuka took way too long getting into the ring. Io and Julia were kind of just stood there for a little bit looking at each other until Asuka got into the ring and they started brawling. Rhea was never going to not play a big part in this match. She had some really good moments. Her makeup made it look like me, like she had a cold. It was very weird. I think it's supposed to be clown makeup almost, like the horror movie thing carrying on from Art the Clown from Survivor Series. But yeah, to me, every time I looked at her, I was like, bloody hell, she's got a bad cold, which I thought was quite funny. I thought also that Rhea was going to clear house when she came in, and she didn't. No one really cleared house at some points. I think the most eliminations in both men's and women's eliminations, the top was 5, which is very weird because sometimes we've seen 8. Obviously, the record is 13. So yeah, it was very weird to see like no one really be the eliminator of the Royal Rumble matches. NXT participants, we saw Sol Ruka, Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan, and JC Jane, with Sol Ruka having a fantastic showing. She got to the final 3 and lasted 50 minutes overall. I say she was definitely the standout of the NXT people. It wouldn't shock me if she came up to the main roster maybe following WrestleMania. Though at the same time, it wouldn't shock me to put the NXT Championship on her before she comes up to the main roster, so I'm not massively sure on that, but you know, putting her on Saturday Night's main event, having her do the kind of Roxanne Perez type run in the Royal Rumble kind of makes me feel like she's going to come up to the main roster sooner rather than later, if not like, but I thought that after Saturday's main event, but I think that even more now. Bloody hell, that is the cold taking over. Lara Valkyria in Saudi is pretty over, you know. They were doing the whole whoo thing, and they did it like after her entrance song had finished as well, and that's a good thing for me. I feel like, you know, with Saudi being in WrestleMania, with WrestleMania being in Saudi next year, I feel like, and I said this multiple times, that WWE are going to be looking for people who are getting big reaction in Saudi Arabia for the women, as far as what matches they're going to do next year for WrestleMania. And yeah, Lara Valkyria getting a big reaction is a very good thing in my opinion, but someone else got a big reaction and also interacted with Lara, which we will get to because it infuriated me. Kairi Sane eliminating Asuka, like I've referred to, is great storytelling. Kairi Sane looked like her heart stopped when she eliminated Asuka, and yeah, it worked out really well. It wouldn't surprise me if these two went on to have a match at WrestleMania, or at least had a match on the Raw WrestleMania beforehand. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely a great story you can tell there between Kairi and Asuka, which kind of takes them away from the women's tag division, which is so stacked right now that we can concentrate on other teams, Bayley and Lara Valkyria. The reaction that Brie The reaction that Brie got in Saudi Arabia is incredibly worrying. These guys went absolutely ballistic for Brie Bella, and I am not happy about it, because it probably means that she's going to get a big match at this WrestleMania, and if they can keep her around long enough, next year's WrestleMania, as well as I say, the Saturday fans reacted massively to both Bella Twins, but more Brie than Nikki. Yeah, it was also good to see Tiffany Stratton come back at 30. I did predict this to be the case. If you go over to the Steel City Slamboree podcast channel, you should see my predictions for my entrance for the Rumble. And Tiffany Stratton, I think, is the only one I got spot on, so that's pretty cool. Stratton Flair standoff made absolute sense, and yeah, was fully expected. And yeah, I like the way they kind of waved at each other, said hello before absolutely going in on each other. I really like it. Right, let's talk about the elimination. Let's talk about what, in my opinion, out of the two Rumble matches, is by far the worst moment of both Rumble matches. And I loved both the Rumbles, but I don't think even in rewatching this in 10 years' time, I am ever not going to hate this moment. But the Bella Twins eliminated Lyra Valkyria and Bayley, and more specifically, Brie Bella eliminated Lyra Valkyria, and I think this is ridiculous. I talk about a lot how Lyra Valkyria and Bayley are very much underutilized talent at the minute in WWE, and I don't think I'm wrong in any kind of way, which I know is very cocky and stuff, but I feel like these two are absolutely fantastic and deserve so much better. But the disrespect to have Brie Bella, of all people, I mean, the Bellas are insufferable as it is, but let's have her eliminate one of the best in-ring talents as far as the women's division go, in Lyra Valkyria, into this match. And Lyra was barely in the match as well. It's a massive disappointment. These two deserve so much more, and I am genuinely concerned that these two don't make the Mania card. And for Bayley to again miss a WrestleMania, I feel like is sacrilege, but I can't help but feel like it's going to get that way. And yeah, it's incredibly disappointing for someone who's such a big fan of, say, Lyra especially, and Bayley as well. Very surprising, 14 superstars were in the ring when 30 entered the ring as well. I mean, that's a lot of people. That's nearly half the field still in the Rumble when 30 hits, which is very unusual. Wasn't quite the same with the men's, but yeah, I thought this was a good thing in my opinion. Chef's kiss to the Soul Snatcher to JC Jane, and how smooth it was that JC eliminated Kalani Jordan, then Soul used the ropes to then also do the Soul Snatcher, which I thought was a really cool moment. Flair was the Iron Woman. She lasted 59 minutes in the match and had a brutal elimination for Rhea Ripley as well, as she got Kiana bombed onto the apron. And then we saw the absolute betrayal of Liv Morgan eliminating Raquel Rodriguez. The final four was Raquel, Liv, Soul, Raquel, and Tiffany Stratton, though Raquel wasn't in the final four for very long. She was quickly eliminated, as I said, by Liv Morgan, which opens the door to one thing. And I don't think people are talking about this enough, with the fact that Raquel has a Women's World Championship match tonight on Raw, and Liv Morgan won the Royal Rumble. So I think Raquel is going to win the world title tonight. And I'm going to talk about this probably in a bit more depth on the Steel City Slamboree podcast later on today, so do stick around for that. Do subscribe to the channel. There is a link in the description, because I'm going to stop posting the podcast to the Wrestling Retrospective channel soon, because I really want the podcast to grow on its own. And yeah, I feel like Raquel might win the World Championship tonight, and it might lead to Liv versus Raquel, or Liv versus Raquel versus Roxanne at WrestleMania, which I think would be awesome. And yeah, I'm happy with Liv Morgan getting the win here. Soul Rucker, I think she's a bit foolish for going for a Soul Snatcher on the apron when you're down to the last three of the Royal Rumble, but I understand why they did it. And yeah, I think Tiffany Stratton getting second makes the most sense. It puts her in a good position to challenge for the Women's Championship, or maybe go through the Elimination Chamber next month. But yeah, I'm very happy with Liv Morgan getting the win. She was the person I predicted to win at the Royal Rumble as well, which makes me very happy. I think it was more than deserving. I know some people aren't massive on Liv Morgan, and that's fair enough. I do get their point. But for me, I've been a Liv Morgan fan for a while. So yeah, I was very happy with this. I look forward to seeing what she's going to do at WrestleMania. But I think there is the potential for a brilliant story to tell between her and Roxanne, her and Raquel, or her, Raquel, and Roxanne going forward, depending on what happens on Raw tonight. But yeah, I'm very happy with the Rumble. I thought the Rumble was excellent. And same for the men's as well, but we'll get to that. As I said, the only real downside for me was the elimination of Lyra Valkyria, but other than that, I was fairly happy with this Rumble, very enjoyable, and I'd probably put it in my top 10 like straight away. Following that, we had Gunther defeating AJ Styles, and AJ Styles must retire from the WWE or from wrestling in general. We don't know yet, but I do feel like he might go somewhere else. But if he doesn't, I'm totally fine with that. But as someone who is a big fan of AJ Styles, if he does end up going to AEW or TNA or elsewhere, Japan, whatever, I wouldn't be massively against it. I just think that putting the word retirement on this match would be... that wasn't the greatest thing. I would have just had it be must leave WWE, but then everyone would be like, oh, well, he's just going to go to New Japan, or no, go to AEW. So I kind of get it on both sides of the coin. But the match itself was great, but it was never not going to be great when it comes to Gunther and AJ Styles. They are two of the best in ring AJ Styles of all time, Gunther of right now. So yeah, it was never not going to be good. I would say it wasn't completely even. It was more 60-40, maybe even 55-45 towards Gunther. Gunther did control for the most part of this one. I wouldn't say the most part. I said it was fairly even, but Gunther kind of did control. Like I said, it was very close, but Gunther did take the most control. However, Styles did take an absolute beating, especially in the beginning and near the end as well. Yeah, it was a kind of typical slow, methodical pace of a heel versus the fast-paced speed of a babyface, and this, yeah, there's a reason why every match kind of goes down this aisle, and it's because it works so well, and this is another great example of that. I enjoyed the details of how Gunther was targeting AJ Styles' body, especially his chest, and kind of the operations of which you breathed from, because he wants him to pass out in the sleeper hold, whereas AJ Styles was targeting Gunther's legs, and specifically his calves, or of course the calf crusher, which he tapped out from on Raw a few weeks ago. So yeah, it made a lot of sense for me. You also saw the fact that Gunther had done his homework on AJ Styles, had watched his matches back, learned from the first match that he had by the fact that he was escaping the calf crusher fairly quickly, getting to the ropes within enough time to be able to get out without any real damage being done to his calf. Yeah, I also enjoyed the part where he was in the calf crusher for a while, and then he reversed it into a sleeper hold. I thought it was very clever. I assumed when he got hold of his neck, he was going to do what Brock Lesnar did to him at Survivor Series 2017, when he just bashed his head into the mat loads of times and then applied the sleeper. But yeah, it was just as good doing a reversal into the sleeper, because it gets him to where he wanted to be in the end anyway. Styles' clash into the pin was very, very close. I think that was the 2.99 that everyone was looking for, as far as AJ Styles not losing this match. But yeah, incredibly close. But again, it kind of got to a point where it felt like AJ was going to lose, undoubtedly. The electric chair into the sleeper transition was really nice. I very much enjoyed that. And again, a small detail, but Gunther almost put over AJ Styles in a way by making him look strong in defeat. But instead of just falling back into the sleeper hold, he actually fell forwards and was putting his whole body weight on the back of AJ Styles, which obviously made the sleeper hold even more unbearable for AJ Styles. So then when he passed out, it made the most sense. Dan Angler, obviously he's getting a lot of praise for this one, because he didn't want to admit that AJ Styles was out, so it kind of took him a little bit of time before calling the match. And of course, it was a very sad final moments of the match where you kind of knew the inevitable had come reality, and AJ Styles had passed out to the sleeper hold. And yeah, like, me and my brother sat in silence for at least 2 to 3 minutes after the bell was rung, because it is a sad moment to see AJ Styles leave. And yeah, I said there's not enough good things you can say about AJ Styles for wrestling. He is one of those people who, you know, has impacted the industry so much over the last, like, was it 25, 30 years. So yeah, I mean, it's very hard. And one of the things that also made this harder to watch is because we kind of saw on screen AJ Styles coming to and realizing what had happened, questioning Dan Angler about what had happened while Gunther's theme is playing, so he knows that it's now over. And yeah, that was really sad. I was like, just watching AJ Styles' facial expressions and body language, man, it was just like, oh, this is heartbreaking, because it's not a case of like, oh, you got pinned and that was it. Cena else, he tapped out within himself, he looked at the crowd, smiled and tapped. AJ Styles had literally no idea within the story of the match of what had happened. So that was really cool detail, but also heartbreaking, as I said. And yeah, thank you very much, AJ Styles, for just having one of the best wrestling careers that someone could possibly have. And yeah, if you end up going elsewhere, I'm not going to hold it against him. I feel like he still has dream matches he wants to have. You know, you got to believe that, you know, Kenneth Omega has to be on that list of people he wants to face. Maybe he dips his toes into AEW, doesn't sign like a full-on contract, maybe just signs a few months or something, and then does a bunch of dream matches there, then goes to Japan, does a bunch of matches there, then ends in TNA. That'd be a pretty cool story to tell. But if this is it and it's over, then, you know, fair play. Gunther takes another career, which is something I'm enjoying. I love the career killer Gunther, and I feel like he really should be targeting old people, like pensioners now, old wrestlers, but like, not in the way of he has to retire them straight away, but having faced old wrestlers who are kind of on the way out a little bit, just as a, like, almost like a test for himself and the wrestler as well. Having faced people like Randy Orton again, like The Miz, like CM Punk, where it's like, I can take your career if I really wanted to. So then when it comes around to them going, I think I'm going to call it quits, his music hits, and you kind of see that fear come over them. Not like a bunch load of fear, but just like the change in body language, change in facial expression, when they kind of know that the career Grim Reaper known as Gunther has come for their career and their soul. Not to be like The Undertaker, but you know what I mean. You know, it's like, just have that intimidation factor of the older wrestlers in the roster. I feel like would be a really cool way for the Gunther character to go if he isn't targeting a world championship. After that, we had Drew McIntyre defeat Sami Zayn to retain the WWE Championship, and yeah, I couldn't be happy with this. I thought the right person won 100%. I thought after the sadness of AJ Styles losing and retiring that they might pick up the fans by having Sami Zayn win the title. Thank God they didn't do that. Thank goodness for Triple H. What a guy he is, truly, to have Drew McIntyre beat Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia. And yeah, as for the match, it was good. I thought it was the best match on the card, if the fourth match was the best match on the card, because I just messed up that part. But no, I thought it was the fourth best match on the card. It doesn't mean it was bad. All four matches had a real quality to them. It's just that I enjoyed this one the least. Basically because I got really nervous every time Sami Zayn did anything good, because I really don't want him to be world champion, which I know is incredibly personal preference, but you know, you're here for a personal review, which is kind of what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. But yeah, it wasn't exactly evenly contested as I thought it would be. Drew McIntyre did control for the most part. Sami Zayn went for the injury angle part of the match. Part of matches, I guess, which was his lower back. He was really hurt with his lower back. It didn't really cost him. They actually didn't do that silly thing where he went for the haluva kick and fell over suddenly because his back was too much to handle. Thank God, because people do look kind of silly when they do that. But yeah, I did start getting very nervous when Sami Zayn started kicking out of really big moves like he did at WrestleMania 39, where he just kicked out of everything that the Usos threw at him, like he was some ungodly plot armored guy. But he does that a lot. The sudden haluva kick when Drew McIntyre went back to do a Claymore, that was the most nervous I got. I thought that he was going to get a win out of nowhere, the fans would lose their shit, and then, you know, he'd go on to have a mediocre world title reign looking like a hobo. But luckily that wasn't the case. Drew McIntyre knows better than to fall for that quick haluva kick thing, but he kicked out of it anyway, which was good. And then, yeah, Drew McIntyre won the match pretty convincingly overall. Like, you know, it didn't feel as convincingly, but on the rewatch, you could kind of see where he controlled the match for the most part. He's now 12-0 against Sami Zayn, which is just absolute pure domination over a guy. But obviously, you have to believe this is going to be what the build to Sami Zayn's World Championship win inevitably falls down to. I don't think Sami Zayn's going to beat Drew McIntyre for the championship, so I don't think Drew McIntyre is going to be champion until next year's WrestleMania. I think that would be pretty crazy. I'd be happy with it. I don't think it's going to happen though, unfortunately. But I think one of the roadblocks for Sami Zayn getting to WrestleMania will be defeating Drew McIntyre, and I feel like he's going to get a big moment. It's going to be one of the big parts of the video package which sees Sami Zayn win the World Championship. But we've got 14 months to get to that point, because we've got about a year and 2 months till next year's WrestleMania. And yeah, I feel like that will be one of the big wins that Sami Zayn gets to build on his momentum towards the World Championship, like I've said. As I'm very happy that Drew McIntyre is still champion. You have to believe, due to the shenanigans within the Men's Royal Rumble, that my prediction of Jacob versus Cody versus Drew for the title is becoming even more and more true the more we go into this storyline. Yeah, it just makes the most sense for me, really. I don't want to see Cody and Drew go one-on-one again. We've been doing that consistently since September. So adding Jacob to the mix is kind of healthy for the feud, and adding that bit of unpredictability, because obviously Drew or Cody don't have to take the pin within the match as well, which is good for both. So yeah, it's a pretty decent match. I say not as good as probably some of the matches they've had before, though I can't remember much because I tend to zone out when Sami Zayn's on my screen. Can't make it sound like I hate Sami Zayn. I do hate Sami Zayn, but you know, not that much. But yeah, no, I'd said for me, as long as Drew McIntyre walks out as champion, I was going to be happy. That's exactly what happened. So yeah, I look forward to seeing what he's going to do, probably at Elimination Chamber, or at least in the build to Elimination Chamber, as I assume the Chamber will be for a title opportunity against him at WrestleMania, which I can see Cody or Jacob obviously winning. That makes the most sense in my opinion, unless Punk defends in the Elimination Chamber, which shouldn't shock me either. But yeah, so very happy with Drew still being champion, as I've said many times now. So we'll move on to the Men's Royal Rumble. Finally, in the main event, we have the Men's Royal Rumble won by the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. Like I said, it would be another correct prediction. I think I got 4 out of 4 for this one, which is pretty damn good. Again, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm reading my notes, so I do apologise for that. But we saw Obafemi start at number 1, something I really did not want. I really wanted him to come in a bit later on, but actually, in hindsight, watching it back and experiencing it in the moment, I liked it. He had a great performance, and I was very happy with how he went within the match. I will get on to some more about him later on. A huge moment to start the Rumble, though, as we saw a masked man attack Bron Breakker and cost him the Royal Rumble, essentially. Eliminated him immediately, and I do wonder what the record is for, not obviously shortest elimination, we know that is famously Santino Marella, but match starting to first elimination, that's got to be pretty quick and pretty on the number for some kind of record there. But the masked man, who is it? Is it Seth Rollins? No. Is it Austin Theory? Maybe. Could it be Finn Balor? I think it's Finn Balor. I think if anyone wants to blame Adam Pearce for kind of screwing them over a little bit by not letting him into the Rumble, by costing Bron Breakker, you're getting the Vision even more on Adam Pearce's case, and Adam Pearce is always under a lot of pressure from some mystery phone call, so maybe the Vision convinces this mystery person that Adam Pearce is behind this. Maybe Adam Pearce was the person behind the mask, and Adam Pearce ends up losing his place as GM of Monday Night Raw, and we have, I would love to see, I'm going to credit this with my brother Ewan. Obviously he might mention this on the podcast as well, so I'm not stealing his idea because I'm crediting him here, but can you imagine like a WrestleMania match where Adam Pearce's Adam Pearce's job is on the line, and it's Breakker versus a person of Adam Pearce's choosing, and he has somebody representing him at WrestleMania to keep his job, and then we get like this awesome match between Breakker and somebody, maybe like I want to say Obafemi, but I think I know where Obafemi is going at WrestleMania. But anyway, it could be somebody. You could even do maybe even Brock versus Oba at WrestleMania, and it's Heyman versus Pearce kind of thing. So that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, you could have Braun versus somebody, Braun representing Paul Heyman, as if Braun wins, Paul Heyman takes over as GM of Raw, and then you have somebody representing Adam Pearce to save Adam Pearce's job. I feel that'd be a pretty cool storyline to go for, but I'm sure Ewan will have a more in-depth kind of storyline for this on the Steel City Slamboree podcast, should we remember to mention it, which I'm sure we will this early into the Men's Rumble. Though I will stop yapping about that and continue with the Royal Rumble, obviously. But yeah, a few theories are floating around about who the masked man is. I don't think it's Seth. I've seen people say it might be Jake Paul, which would be a mad thing to do. And I would really not like that, as I don't want him around wrestling. I think one Paul is enough Pauls around wrestling as far as the Logan Paul family goes. But yeah, I thought this was a great moment. I don't know what everyone is bitching about when it comes to this moment, as I thought this was great. It's got everybody talking. It's brought real intrigue to the storyline that it's going to go for. Yes, Bron Breakker got fucked on. Yes, that's part of the story. Yes, it's going to make him into an even bigger hothead, which is good. I don't understand why everything is so negative. This is a really good thing in my opinion. I was very disappointed that Rey Mysterio even got into the Rumble. Solo did enter at one point. He didn't really do much, I'm not gonna lie, which is a massive shame. Big Solo guy over here. But yeah, disappointed that Rey Mysterio got into the Rumble. He was taking a spot from somebody else. He was injured as far as we knew. He was written off. Maybe it was in storyline, maybe it wasn't, but he should have stayed written off. We talk about hate of Sami Zayn. I hate Rey Mysterio. A quick turnaround for Matt Cardona as well, who was very quickly eliminated by Obafemi. Same for Rusev. Gotta feel bad for Rusev. I know they got the entrance mixed up there, but yeah, Rusev. We all thought he was going to be something different in WWE. Turns out it's just the same old Rusev. But yeah, big turnaround for those two. Damian Priest is a right mardy ass. He looked like his whole world fell apart when he picked his number. It was number 7. There's much worse numbers to get. You're like 1 and 2. yeah, and he had a pretty good showing as well. It wasn't the best showing, but it was pretty decent within the match. The Iron Man, of course, was Javon Evans, and he was arguably the MVP of the match, let alone the Iron Man going 40 minutes in the match, so very well done to him. And yeah, he had a pretty cool showing. Listen, he just is a cool guy overall. He's a great wrestler, and yeah, I mean, I've got nothing against his performance within the match. It was very, very good. He stayed in for much longer than I thought he was going to. And yeah, I've got no complaints here. The involvement at AAA was fine. Mr. Iguana was fun. La Parka was a bit more random, but, you know, overall, it was pretty fine. Cody Rhodes in fairly early, though I did expect that, but I had him coming in at number 6. Ewan had him coming in at 10, though, so that was pretty cool. There was a massive moment with 2 El Grande Americanos. No one is talking about this enough, by the way. El Grande OG Americano is Americane. Interesting. OG Americano. He's jacked. I don't know what he's been doing in his time off. Maybe he went back down to the Gulf of Mexico and, well, the Gulf of America now, and, you know, started lifting them weights. But he is jacked now. And yeah, there was a really cool moment between these two. I very much enjoyed it. It was something I hoping was going to happen. I actually was hoping that Chad Gable was going to come in later on in the match, so it looked as if Gable still is an Americano, though I'm not going to lie to you guys, this first El Grande Americano, he does look a little bit like Chad Gable now, and it's kind of weird. And I think wouldn't it be hilarious, right, if Gable is one of the Americanos, Ludwig Kaiser's the other Americano, and then there's a third one, which is because I don't think Gable was the original one. I really don't. There was a theory out there that Julius Creed was the third one. I would love for them to pick on that. And we got like a triple threat Americano situation going on. Because then they could just be a group. You add in Rayo and Bravo. Those 2 Mexican British guys. Bring them into the mix, and you've got like a 5-person Americano team. You then add in Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers. That's a pretty big American Made you're looking at there, because I understand why people didn't think that El Grande Americano was in American Made when his mask had American Made on it. But yeah, no, just a bit of spitball thinking there. But yeah, I wouldn't surprise me if we did El Grande versus El Grande at WrestleMania, and I feel like that would be an awesome match. But yeah, the shocked look on El Grande Americano's face when OG Americano came out, I thought was great. Trick Williams, I expected him to be a lot longer in the match. He wasn't really in for that long. I want to say there was only about 4 to 5 numbers between him coming in and get eliminated. Interesting. Get him getting eliminated, though he got eliminated by Cody Rhodes, which is pretty good, to be fair. I mean, when it comes to the Rumble matches, depending on who you're eliminated by, is pretty decent, and to be eliminated by former WWE champion Cody Rhodes, I feel like is a pretty big, it's not a big deal, but it's pretty decent within itself. Royce Keane, Powerhouse Hobbs, straight to the main roster. I feel like that shows some pretty decent investment in him. He also eliminated Damian Priest, which I believe it shows pretty big investments in him, and hopefully there's big things for him to come. You got to believe that he's going to be on SmackDown, though at the same time he was eliminated by the Vision, so maybe he goes on to feud with the Vision, though I feel like he would be better as a heel. But yeah, him versus Priest, I feel like would be a big man slapping pin meat kind of feud. Just hope it doesn't last as long as Damian Priest and Aleister Black goes. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't a big Powerhouse Hobbs guy in AEW, but he looked really good here. And if they're gonna set him up to be like an upper mid carder straight off the bat, then I am totally okay with that. The Vision controlled the match. Kind of weird that Paul Heyman came out with Brock Lesnar and not either Theory, Logan, or Bronson. Though I think Theory came in at 15. I think the Vision came in at 15, 16, and 20, which is a pretty quick turnaround for the Vision. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's kind of, they controlled for a little bit, but they didn't have the impact on the match I think we all assumed they were going to have. I expected a little bit more out of Ilya Dragunov. He got lost within the match very quickly of entering. God, this cold is killing me. Yeah, the Vision taking out Laparco and Dragon Lee made the most sense. Yeah, it was great to see LA Knight come back at number 21. Number 21 is known as a number which, by the way, wasn't pointed out to me until Mr. Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns pointed it out. That 21 is a number of which people come back at, and yep, LA Knight completely kept that tradition going. He took out Theory and Bronson Reed, which made the most sense. The Vision are the people that took him out. Brock Lesnar went on a tear when he came in. The constant tease of Oba versus Brock, you just got to do that match at WrestleMania. You got to. Please do the match at WrestleMania. But Oba being eliminated by Brock is not a bad thing. And I feel like people are seeing it as a bad thing, and it's really not. Because the people that you get eliminated by, someone you could have a feud with, and Brock versus Oba at WrestleMania, where Oba possibly goes over against Brock. I hope he goes over, but you know what these kind of things can be like. That would be huge for him. And to say for a guy who just came up from NXT, just vacated the NXT Championship, and then gets eliminated by Brock Lesnar in not the kind of... Because there's kind of two ways to be eliminated by Brock Lesnar. You can either just be thrown out willy-nilly, a bit like Miz and like the Mikados do. Oh, that was harsh on the Miz. But yeah, you kind of, it wasn't just being thrown out willy-nilly by Brock Lesnar. It was specifically having a moment with Brock Lesnar. He took him down. Well, Brock took Oba down, Oba took Brock down, and then Brock eliminated him. That is a moment with Brock Lesnar, and that's all we needed. Right, the match for WrestleMania. When I'm putting my matches I want to see at WrestleMania, top of the list is Oba versus Brock. I don't think it'll be a main event or anything, but it will be top of my list when I'll be writing that down, which will be coming soon on the channel at some point in March. It'll be after Elimination Chamber, because I messed up my video last year by having theories about the Elimination Chamber that didn't come true. So I'm kind of rewriting my mistake there and doing it after the Elimination Chamber. Yeah. Miz, timing as ever. Like, the Miz, good old Mike. He comes in at like the best times. He came in one year and went straight to commentary because Brock Lesnar was just stood alone in the ring and he wasn't going to mess with them. He slid into the ring, noticed Brock and Oba facing off, got out of there straight away, and then came in when everyone kind of brawled towards them both before Oba got eliminated. Yeah, Lesnar's elimination, big controversy here. And I cannot for the life of me understand why this thing has so much traction. Because everyone is acting as if the camera was on Jey Uso the whole time, and then before we knew it, Lesnar was out. The next time we switched to the ring, Lesnar was on the floor, and we completely missed the elimination, and Jey Uso took the moment from him, and Jey Uso's to blame. The hit on Jey Uso, by the way, it has to stop at some point, because it is disgraceful. And I'm going to swing round back to the hate of Jey Uso, because it does have something to do with the winner, in my opinion. But yes, Brock Lesnar's elimination was on screen the whole time. We saw LA Knight and Cody Rhodes eliminate him together. By the way, huge elimination for LA Knight. I know that Cody Rhodes helped him, but having two people eliminate Brock Lesnar makes the most sense. He is Brock Lesnar. But yeah, to say that, oh, it was a crap elimination, why are they doing it during an entrance? But yeah, no, I've seen people say that, oh, it wasn't a big moment because there was an entrance going on at the same time. If it wasn't such a big moment, why is everyone talking about it? Why is literally every other reel I see on my feed is Brock Lesnar being eliminated by Jey Uso was crap, this and that. It's rubbish. Honestly, the Brock Lesnar elimination, the build up to it, the elimination itself, and Brock's reaction to it all got shown on screen while Jey Uso was wandering through the crowd getting to the ring. It was perfectly fine. Yes, Jey Uso's music was playing. So what? Honestly, people... I mean, I'll say that later on, but honestly, there was no need for this absolute negative reaction this got, and I bet if it had been anyone but Jey Uso's entrance music playing, people wouldn't have minded as much. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, right, Roman Reigns ruining the run it back by Jey Uso made perfect sense within the match. Also, later on, Roman Reigns would eliminate Jey Uso, which again makes the most sense. Jey Uso was 5th overall, which I'm sure people are absolutely fuming about. But no, I feel like this was a good showing for Jey for what he got. It wasn't great, but it was never going to be great because people won't stop bitching about him on the internet. Roman Reigns eliminating him, again, makes the most sense. He also eliminated Jacob, which we'll get to soon. Roman Reigns also hates The Miz a lot. Like, my brother pointed out to me that The Miz has been eliminated by Roman Reigns more than anybody, and I feel like this is the most common, or one of the most common eliminations, is Roman Reigns eliminating The Miz, which is quite funny. And yeah, no, we saw Fatu and Rhodes brawl on the outside, made the most sense. Javon Evans and that Samoan drop was mental. The guy flew before landing the Samoan drop. It was awesome. Randy Orton is the king of the late matches, late entrance in matches. Since he won the match in 2009, I believe he was number 8. Every Rumble he's been in, apart from one in 2021 when he was number 2, he has entered from the number 23 or backwards of that number, which is mental. To come in 23 or later for almost every Rumble you've been in is pretty I mean, as I said, he's the king of the late numbers. Gunther being number 30 should not have been a shock to anybody because it is maths. If you knew who was declared for the Rumble and you get to number 25, you can normally figure out which one is going to be, not like which numbers specifically, but you can work out which numbers are unknown people and which numbers are the people that have declared. So by the time we got to like 28, 29, by process of elimination, it was Gunther. Which again, also, shouldn't have been a shock because he wrestled not, 45 minutes to hour and a half earlier. So it makes sense that he was going to be a late number. 30, maybe, but I feel like people are way too invested in this idea that 30 has to be a surprise. No, it doesn't. The roster is so stacked right now that we don't even need surprises, and yet we still did get some surprises. The AAA guys were a surprise, LA Knight was a surprise, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, I brought Lesnar as 30 just because it was Saudi alone. But no, Gunther being 30 made the most sense, and people again need to stop moaning about that. It made a lot of sense, and it shouldn't have been a shock at the time because, again, it's the process of elimination. We knew that Gunther was going to be 30 by the time 30 came around. McIntyre eliminating Cody was a surprise, to be fair. I didn't expect that to happen, and then what I liked about this was Drew McIntyre then explained his actions on the post show by saying he was screwing me over and over and over again before I won the championship. So now I'm going to screw him over from getting back to my championship. Makes the most sense. You can add it to the build to WrestleMania. Clearly, Drew and Cody are going to have some kind of interaction at the WrestleMania match. I would say I'm hoping Jacob's going to be part of that as well. So yeah, all made a lot of more storyline sense. Jacob being eliminated by Roman, again, makes a lot of sense. He was distracted by Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns took advantage of that because he is a Rumble, I wouldn't say genius. He's an intellectual within the Rumble because he's been in the final 4, final 2 of so many. The OG cutter into the RKO spot actually done well this time. I know okay, that seems a bit harsh. So they kind of missed it when these two had a match on NXT last year, and to be fair, it's a hard spot to get, but this time they got it in the Rumble, which was really cool moment to get, and it kind of helps Javon Evans' stock rise within the WWE. Randy Orton, Logan Paul, Gunther, and Roman Reigns were your final 4. Honestly, Logan and Orton as a final 4 didn't really have the great feel to it. It kind of at that point felt like, oh, Gunther or Roman is definitely winning this one. Personally, I would have held off on the spot of Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. I would have done that later had the final 4 be Cody, Jacob, Gunther, and Roman, done the same spots again to eliminate Cody and Fatu, leaving then Roman and Gunther, who had a good back and forth for a little bit. Gunther put the sleeper on, the only guy who's survived the sleeper so far in recent memory. Roman Reigns, with a big ass neck, survived the sleeper hold and managed to eliminate Gunther to get the win. And yeah, Roman Reigns made the most sense. I've said this for a while now. Roman winning the championship, just, yeah, it made perfect sense in my opinion. I assume he's going to face CM Punk. I can't imagine they're going to redo Drew versus Roman. Punk versus Roman, 2 WrestleMania main events, I feel like I don't think it's like as bad as people maybe think, because a one-on-one situation is very different to a triple threat situation, especially when the third person is Seth Rollins. And yeah, for me, I'm looking forward to seeing that match happen. The promos are going to be great between those two. I think the build is going to be fantastic, and I look forward to see. I don't think it's going to start quite yet, probably post-Elimination Chamber, which is fine. We know what Roman's like. He's not going to be on Raw or anything, or if he is, it won't be Raw consistently, which is a shame, but it is what it is. But the thing I want to get to, right, when it comes to this Rumble overall, is people going to go, oh, Roman again. Oh my God, no, you're joking me. You know what? You get what you deserve, in my opinion. Last year, they did a very surprise winner in Jey Uso, and the fans overall loved it. They were massively on Jey Uso. Everyone was yeeting around the world. And what happened? You all turned on Jey. You all said that 2025 was one of the worst Rumbles ever by the time we got to the end of the year. And you all did not appreciate the shock winner overall. And to be fair, I wasn't a big fan of Jey Uso winning, but I said that since the beginning because I'm not a Jey Uso guy. I'm an Usos guy. I love the Usos as a tag team, but as a Jey Uso guy on a singles run, I was just not invested in it. It just didn't click with me, and I've been saying that for a while. But the people that suddenly turned, the people that were all over Jey Uso to start the year last year. Loved the fact he won the Rumble. Loved the fact that he won at WrestleMania. And then turned on him on a dime. And yeah, you're the reasons why we didn't get a shock winner at the Royal Rumble. Because they had to play it safe. Because, you know, they didn't want the backlash they got from last year's Royal Rumble match. Well, not even the backlash they got from the last year's Royal Rumble. It's kind of the backlash they're getting now because Jey Uso was thing. They put the rocket on Jey Uso, and the only people that failed Jey Uso was his fans. And that's really unfortunate. And so yeah, they did play it safe, and Roman made the most sense. I'm not at all annoyed at Roman winning. I predicted him to win, and it made the most sense in my opinion, like I've said. Would I love to see an LA Knight get a surprise win? Absolutely, but I blame the majority of the fan base who love to bitch and moan on the internet for the fact that we didn't get that, and the fact that they're just having to play everything safe in case things go wrong with other people in the fans. And yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I know it's a bit of a negative way to end the video, but yeah, I feel like again, to go back to the positives, this Rumble was by far match of the night. I loved this a lot. When I watched it on rewatch, I was not only excited to get to rewatching it, but I loved it just as much on the rewatch as I did watching it live. And yeah, I feel like it's been one of the best Rumbles we've had in a while. I did very much enjoy last year's, but I think this was standards above the Rumble. And just like the women's, it will make my top 10 Rumble list next year. And yeah, I had a bunch of fun watching this one. This was the one I probably lost my voice in the most. And yeah, I thought it was absolutely excellent. So those are my thoughts on the WWE Royal Rumble 2026. Do put down in the comments below your thoughts on the show overall. Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of complaining, I'm not going to lie, and honestly, I don't understand why. I thought the event was great overall. I thought that the two Rumble matches were absolutely excellent, like I've said. The men's especially was very, very good, and yeah, honestly, I wish people would just stop moaning on the internet, because it's going to end up ruining everything for all of us who have been through the really bad times, the 2019s, the 2010s, and trust me, these times are not as bad as them, and people just need to, you know, I'm not going to say, oh, they just touched some grass or whatever. They just need to just post the stuff you like. Don't post the stuff you don't like, because then there's going to be time for things to change, and and they'll concentrate on the stuff we do like, and it'll end up being good in the end. But yeah, as I said, it is what it is. There's some good content coming up on the channel as well. Next weekend, or this weekend, because it's Monday. Yeah, this weekend I have a new video series coming out. I'm going to do a bit of an intro video for it, probably a day before, maybe a few hours before, where I'm going to do like a review of a full year in WWE. I'm starting with 2001. I don't know whether you guys have noticed, but on the shorts feed, if you go and have a look, I've been doing classic match ratings for pay-per-views in 2001, like I do for every pay-per-view that's currently happening in a minute, and Saturday Night's Main Event and stuff like that. So do check those out on the shorts page, or the shorts section of the channel page, I guess. As yeah, I think I've done up to, I believe Invasion came out last night or this morning, so do go check that out, as well as all the other match ratings, or go have a look on the TikTok, they're there as well. Both are, well, the TikTok is linked in the description. As I said, go look on the shorts page, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this video series out. It's like really cool going back and watching some old stuff from the early 2000s, and yeah, it'll be like maybe once a month those videos will come out, as well as coverage of the Elimination Chamber. There'll be coverage of TNA's No Surrender is in a few weeks, as well as, of course, as I said, the Elimination Chamber, and lots of other stuff coming up on the channel as well as tomorrow on the channel there will be my matches of the month, and on the shorts feed there will be my wrestlers of the month as well, so do and check those out as well when they come out, obviously, which will be tomorrow. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Do subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.